Hello, in this video we'll be covering the basic procedures for resetting a stone grave marker. Now, two important things to remember when doing this is personal safety and also the object itself. We want to make sure to do no harm to the marker. Now, grave markers are extremely heavy, but also you remember they're extremely delicate. These are pieces of historic fabric that have been weathered for a long period of time. So exercise caution before proceeding with any treatments. Before we get started, we want to make sure that all of our parts are secured and stable. To do this, we will probably have to move the headstone away from the base to give us room to work. It's always best to have someone on hand to help you move the stone. Now that we have separate parts, we're first going to focus on the base. The monument's base is the most important thing. Without a stable and plumb base, any repairs to be done to the stone will run the risk of failing in the future. We can see that this base once had two small bronze pipes inserted to try and stabilize the headstone. For whatever reason in the past, these pins have failed. Our next task is to remove these failed pins. Many times you can remove the old pins with a good pair of vice grip pliers. If this does not work, or the pins have severely corroded, as in the case with most iron pins, you will need to drill the pins out. We will do that with an electric angle grinder fitted with a masonry coring bit. Masonry coring bits are also available for standard drills. When choosing the coring bit to use, select the one closest to the size of the original hole. There is no reason to remove any more original material than is absolutely necessary. This procedure will need to be done on both the base and the headstone. Once the pins are removed and the hole is cleaned out, we need to measure the depth and diameter of the hole. Now we will insert new pins made out of stainless steel all thread. Stainless steel will not corrode over time the way bronze and steel pins will. You want to make sure that your new pins are just slightly shorter and smaller than the holes. This helps eliminate movement due to expansion and contraction over time. The next thing that we notice about our base are the traces of the old failed hard mortar. We must remove any loose mortar to get a good bond when the stone is reset. We are going to carefully remove the old mortar with a hammer and chisel. This procedure will need to be done to both the base and the headstone. Once we have removed all old materials such as the pins and mortar, it is time to clean the stone. Pay particular attention to the two surfaces that we need to bond together during the resetting. After the stone is washed, we will need to let it dry out before any work can be done. It is a good idea to let the stone dry for a few hours before continuing. Now that our stone is dry, we can prepare the base for the headstone. It is always a good idea to dry fit the stone before placing any compounds or mortars to assure a tight fit. For this reset, we are going to use a Monument Builders setting compound. This material will stay flexible to allow the stone to expand and contract over time and will not break the bond. Also, the setting compound can easily be removed if needed in the future. This causes minimal impact to the historic stone. We start by laying the compound around the edge of the stone, about 1/4 to 1/2 inch away from the edge of the headstone's base. Once the stone is set, the compound will flatten and push out of the sides slightly. Now it is time to place the headstone back on the base. It is important again to lift with two people. These structures may be surprisingly heavy, yet delicate, and a great amount of care must be exercised when moving and handling them. Once you have checked that the headstone is level and plumb, and made any adjustments necessary, you must remove any extra setting compound. And there you have it. Now that we've set the marker back on the base, The compound will set itself slowly over time. Now that you've watched this video about the basic procedures for setting a stone grave marker, keep in mind to exercise personal safety and also to do no harm to the markers themselves. And good luck.